Oh, hello, my sweet. So won't you come with me? There's oh so much to show in this grim dark distillery. So if you like bullshit or want some hobby tips, this nightmare priest nigh on binary world magnificent welcomes you. Hello, my sweets. So a couple things I wanted to talk about today. The first one is I think I am going to open a Patreon because I've come to the conclusion that I should probably allow people to support me in any way other than commissions. Because that's kind of messed up to ask that like the intro to like supporting me is like 150 bucks at least. Um, and I've also come to the conclusion that it's just the more commissions I have to do to pay my bills, the more I'm not able to work on the stuff that I am wanting to present to the community. So I am realizing that I need to make some kind of an adjustment. And enough people have said, hey, how can I support you? How can I give you money? And that is something that I just don't like. I don't like people giving me money. But I am accepting that it's just like, if I open myself up to that and accept people valuing what I'm doing, then I will be able to spend more time doing the things that I truly think that people will enjoy the most. Good morning, Possum. Little sleepy head. I'm also pretty sleepy. I woke up at like 5. I really had to pee, and I was like, I think I can lay here a little bit longer. I could not. I was like, I gotta do it. And then I just couldn't get back to sleep. But yeah, rest assured, no matter what, the morning hobby hang is always just gonna be a thing. Like, I want that to be a thing that I do because I think people get something out of it. If there's ever, someone wants to, talk about little miniatures and stuff like that, I would like to be a safe place where they can learn my craft. And I just try to be real. It's an equal exchange of goods and services. They're not just giving you dollars. See, and that's it. Like I still am in such a shitty mindset of not devaluing, but I've been told that what I provide is not a thing for so long. And then it's just like the people whose opinions matter the most, not because they tell me that what I provide matters, but the people that like their opinions matter the most because of like their actions. Like I trust their judgment and I trust those things. I don't want to seem, I feel like now it's just like, man, I feel like it's kind of a middle finger to them by not listening and being grateful. But it's just hard. It's just hard to slip into that. They give you dollars and they receive your wonderful personality and wealth of knowledge. Oh, thank you, Possum. Yeah, so thank you. Well, that means a lot. It's hard trying to change so drastically what's going on in your head for so long. And that's another thing. I want to be here to talk about shit like that because I know that has helped me hearing people talk about shit, and I want to keep doing that for other people. So I am going to be doing something with that. So while discussing that with Kelly yesterday, she was like, "Okay, well, what would you provide? Like as far as what would you give?" And it's just like, well, I've got a whole list of things that I want to do, from podcasts that not just me talking, but like I want to put out stuff, quality stuff that I think that the community will enjoy. As well as I would love to be able to, I know everyone wants to see videos instead of just live streams. And I absolutely get it. I 100% do. It's just, that's a huge time commitment. And everything that I do that I'm not working on, making boards or trying to make stuff for games, is just time that I have to take. There's a hair. I could have kept that. No, I'm just kidding. I have to pretty much take time away from what I'm trying to present. And it's just like, okay, I've kind of hit a point that I'm realizing I can't keep doing both, or I'm just going to run myself ragged. So I need to find out what people actually want. And also, yeah, just all that. So anything that you're like, hey, you should do this, or we would like to see more of this, please let me know. And I made a comment before about like, oh, I don't look at the comments. I do. I at the time, At the time, I was trying to do a shit ton of things at once, and I just still was not used to even checking that kind of stuff. But I do try to make sure that I respond to everything, and I talk to everyone that reaches out to me. So if anything like that was misstated on my part, I apologize about that. I also want to go ahead and clarify, I did not say anything offensive the other day. I said mongoloid, which I just found out is a word that not everybody else knows. And it's because it's a reference that my mom has made my entire life to a movie from 1978. It's not even a movie, it's a short film. It's 10 minutes long from 1978 about a guy having, I think the biggest upside of a video is it's infinitely easier to reference again later than the live streams are. Absolutely. No, and they really are. I think definitely. No, that's a very good point. Yeah, this movie apparently is about a guy having, I haven't seen it. I only read the description, but apparently it's a very surreal short film about a guy fantasizing about his dog. And from what I was told, my entire basis of this word is just common knowledge, is Mom was like, oh yeah, just like a creepy, it's just like a creepy dog man. It's just, and just looking up all the things that the internet thought I was saying, it's like, I don't even understand that. And it took me a bit, but I had to piece it together from like a word standpoint, like etymological standpoint. And I was like, I don't understand how that would be something that I would say. And then eventually I just looked up exactly what I said, how I thought it would be spelled. And I found out that, yeah, no, it's a very obscure short film that my mom referenced often because it clearly made a lasting impression. And it's typically, another example would be anytime I talk about like Mama, specifically the short film that inspired Mama by Guillermo del Toro. He didn't do the short film, but I love artsy films. I love short little creepy things. So it's just like all of that just clicked, and I was like, oh my God, that's just something I've been saying that people have thought I've been saying something else my entire life. And I just grew up thinking that everybody knew about this thing, and I didn't even know about what that thing was. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I had a pretty good laugh about that. I was like, man, what the fuck? That's real weird. That's real weird. I do really want to see what that film is, though, because it apparently made a very lasting impression. And it might be why my mom felt like she constantly had to make me not make creepy shit or like creepy shit. She was afraid I'd grow up to someone who makes creepy short films about their dogs. But yeah, with all that said, let's get into some grief. But yeah, no, I absolutely would love to hear anyone's requests or thoughts of what they would like to see as far as content. But I know obviously the number one would be, hey, take stuff. I'm gonna have to look that. Take stuff that you've talked about and, make it easier to sort through to reference later in the event. As far as hobbying, showing how to do things. And I absolutely, I get that. And that would be something that I could probably just devote. I'd have to start devoting time to. But I could schedule that in. Like that could be something that I work towards, as opposed to thinking I'm not going to do that because I have so much other stuff that I have to put time into. The elusive scabs video. Oh. Huh. Do we have that video? Like, that would be like the Corpse Wake. Corpse Wake 2. Oof. I did record me making that entire thing. But then also, I'm pretty sure someone recorded or documented heavily, at least pictures. I think Clay took a lot of pictures during our game. I do like that that game pretty much ended with them crashing into a tower and just like deciding that that's where they live now. And we've not done anything with that game since. And it's just like, yeah, they're just there. They're just. It was a joke, but also it's not a joke. That's where they live now. You said you filmed it. Okay, yes. So I filmed the entirety of making the scab, the boat, and then yeah, I guess we filmed it. If I said that, then we did. I don't remember, but I don't think I filmed the whole game. But I know I filmed every bit of making the boat because it was like a real weird. Come on, grief. It was a real weird, like, oh hey, I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna make this boat that just popped into my head, and I just did it until it was done. But that would be a very probably worthwhile video to put on. People would probably like to see it go from a piece of paper to a bunch of trash that I put together. Okay, yeah. No, I recorded the whole thing. So yeah, I should do that. And also, that would mean that I would have time to make music and up the production, I guess. I could make it to where it's like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm constantly having to make excuses for why I haven't done things. It's just I'm so many things on my mind and I'm trying to do at once. And that would allow me a little bit of breathing room. And also direction to know what people are wanting. And I want to also specify, like, I'm not ever going to be what do you guys want to watch me, paint today? And it's like Space Marines. It's like, that's never going to happen. Like, I value everyone's opinions and what they want to see, but I also know that it's just like, I don't think anybody that like really loves the stuff that I do would expect that. But I just wanted to specify that just in case. I don't want any misinterpretation. Which also, that's the same thing. I can't imagine anyone who really knows my work would be like, I would like a commission of you to put a cape on a Space Marine. It's just a little different. And I'm not downplaying any of that. It's just that's the kind of stuff. I'd rather show you how to do it, and then you can do it. And I feel like I have shown that a couple times. But it's all been on live streams. So there's a guy who does some Battletech painting content, and his streams are him filming the video and working through the script of his videos out loud. Huh? I like that, actually. That's fun. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of... I don't know. I guess that's it. Acknowledging when people want to see the behind-the-scene kind of thing, and when they don't. That is a big part of it. And I don't know how to really show that outside of just showing it, but I know that... Damn. Good morning. Fuon? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Fuon? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm doing my best. Good morning. Welcome. Okay, come on. Get in there. Almost. Aha. We got it. Don't you do it. Okay. You could always do similar where you talk about something as a voiceover while clips from the stream are playing. Yeah. No. Yeah. And that's absolutely something that it just makes sense. But it's just like my brain is just in like, you're supposed to be printing constantly. Which that's the thing is like, I don't want anyone to think like, man, what have you been doing for months? And it's just like, I've been trying to get stuff together to make content to show for a bunch of things that I want to show and I'm going to show. From 1490 Doom, that's the first up on the block. Then we got probably Flames after that, and then Necropolis, and then we're getting into Trench Crusade. And then somewhere in there is going to be Merkborg and all that stuff. But that's kind of a different vibe, a different kind of game, a different kind of thing to present. And that I need to take the time to figure out how to best present solo Borg. I know how to present solo games. That's easy. I've done that my whole life. Playing Merkborg in front of people solo is kind of weird. for me. Not weird. It's a different thing, and I don't. It just requires a different kind of approach, and I'm still trying to figure that out. And I think I need to be way more familiar. Oh my God, there is a crazy fuzzy on my back. That wasn't a magic trick, but if you were impressed, ta-da! But yeah, no, and I still want to do commissions. I also want to make that very clear. So no matter what, I think I'll probably have at least 1 week a month that I do commissions, because I do love doing that. And I also, I don't know, I don't want to say that I would do those on stream unless that's something people really want, just because I work. I'm just trying to think of, benefit of, I guess I could film it and then explain it. That would be a concept. That would be a good application. I'll be right back. What the hell was I doing over here? I was getting grief. No, I already got grief. Yap. Thread. I don't need any more thread right now. I think I'm going to have to make those legs a little bit longer. But yeah, I've got the last 2 parts of terrain that I need for running through the Fall of Rothenburg, which I want to play through that entire game. And I want to show the kind of products that 1490 Doom, like Viewer Games, like are putting out, because I really believe in them. I don't know. It's just, and same with Steve. Like I have, and it's not. I can't stress enough. It's not because they're my friends. I will say that definitely helps me find games, though. I think there's something pertinent in the creation of a commission, then absolutely you should make a video. Yeah, no, I think that's probably accurate. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Not accurate. I mean, it is accurate and precise, my dear possum. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to tying bells. Also, hot damn, I fucking love this thing. I'm a day really into working with this. This is maybe my new favorite tool. I could see myself buying more than one. That's not a healthy idea, but I could see myself doing it. And it really makes me think. I did place an order for a bunch of display stuff, but it's much more general tools, except for the hand rest. I did do that because I know that will help my productivity exponentially, because if I can keep my hand steady, 1, it's going to be less fatigue on my hands. 2, I'm going to be able to be more accurate and precise with my work, because there's definitely a lot of time spent pretty much like, oh darn, I touched it. Oh darn, I touched it. Which, speaking of which, one of these bells came off. So I'm going to pull that real tight and then tie it again. Grief, you're not just going to be losing your jester cap. Also wrote some grief jokes yesterday, which that was the grief joke. The grief joke in all that is I accidentally learned 2 offensive phrases because I am so fucking other that I just thought that other word was a word that everyone else knew. But no, it's just a really fucking obscure 1978 film that I've never even seen. Yeah, just very, very, very funny. Very funny grief joke. It's just like, the joke is, I don't even understand. You're a product of your environment, my friends. That's the joke. Grief. Also, man, safe to say, we will have grief stickers. That's going to be a thing. Grief jokes. Kelly and I were talking about that, and like, man, that's just a sticker with grief's face, and it just has grief jokes. That's a fun sticker. I also am fully supportive of, oh yeah, once a month I'll, or even more regularly, I could just make a video promoting something that I really like that I'm not getting paid for, and it might get me a cease and desist. That's a fun thing we could do. That is both helpful to the community and brands that I like, whether they want it or not, which is kind of what my deal is. Let me help you how I know how to help you. I know what the other weirdos on the internet like because I've been one my whole life in every way you can imagine. That's not true. That statement's not true. That was a blanket statement. That's bad on my part. Yeah, I'm just pulling that real tight, and then I'm going to glue it. I gotta say, carrying this upstairs yesterday to show Kelly, I was like, hey, let me show you what I got done on grief. The jingling following me up the stairs, very funny. Very funny. Classic grief. But yeah, no, so I think I'm going to be doing that. Working on writing up what I want to offer. But yeah, as far as I don't know enough about what people want to be like, oh, different tiers, because I don't want to one, it's just already such a weird thing because I don't, the Patreons that I subscribe to are like Hive Scum. I subscribed to Peters for a little bit for when I had the funds. Currently, I think really the only one that I'm subscribed to is the Hive Scum one. But I really, I'm not saying that other people don't add something to the community. It's just that one, I personally gain a lot out of listening to those goofballs talk whenever I listen to them. And I'm not saying that I don't value anyone else's. I can't stress that enough. It's just more of I need more glue. Yeah, that's why I support them, and I want to be able to make sure that I put out stuff that is worth people's time and money. Most importantly, time, but also money. But as I say all the time, every day, your time is your most valuable commodity. Please don't ever forget that. And that is a full endorsement of if you do not get anything from my streams, do not feel obligated to watch them. Because I want you to use your time in the most valuable way to you. So, cringe is cool. Authentic is attractive. Well, thank you. That's it. I really want to be able to provide something to people that I can't bottle and sell, and it's just me. I want to show what I love. Like what I love more than anything. It's not even like I sent an email to a couple different places as far as sponsors, and it's again, I don't want them to send me free stuff. I would like to use their much larger fan base to spread my message that gaming is for fucking everybody. Sorry about the profanity. It's just I get a little heated. I just don't want anyone to ever feel like they don't meet whatever requirement they've made in their head or they've been told by other people that do not know what they're talking about to feel like they can't be part of the community that I am very happily part of. Because everyone is welcome as long as you are not hate speeching, putting others down like it. That's it. And with that, I mean, I can see how a lot of people would be offended by the stuff I make, but I make no apologies for that because this is literally me getting out my personal grief in the only way that my brain is just knows how, and just self-expression in general with the other demons and like self-evaluation. I want to be that person that just puts everything out there so you know, hey, you don't have anything to really fucking worry about. Like, what's the worst case scenario? Because I have gained so much from valuing myself in the past year as opposed to 36 years of not. And I cannot stress how much I just want to help anyone else who is like that. Because that is no way to live. It's horrible. And yeah, I don't want anyone else to be like that. So yeah, that's my heavy tangent about why I'm going to open a Patreon. And again, no matter what, I'm going to be here 2 hours a day doing this because I think people do get something out of it. If you need someone to talk to or listen to just yap about something that they love, or you're just bored, I think that it's important that there's content being made that cares about the people. And I put that in my video, months ago before I went to Adepticon. But that, I mean that as blatantly as possible. I don't give a shit about money. It's hard for me to ask for it, but I do have to pay bills. But I live very, very, I don't know if I'd say frugally. I like to buy things that I know that are not the cheapest, but they are quality. I know that I will save money by buying them. But yeah, like, I don't know. I try to have as little waste financially, mentally, physically as possible. So I just, I don't know. I want to be a positive impact on the world. And reaching out to companies that have a larger fan base, that have my standards of like what their goals are as a company. I want to work with them. Like, I'm not ever going to pitch anything, and that's a, like, I don't know how to put that any more blunt. I will never tell anyone, if you talk to me, I will never tell you to go buy something that I don't think you should buy and that I would not buy myself. And I hate seeing that in our hobby when people are clearly just pushing something. It really offends me because it's just so many people put their time and their money and their hard work and themselves into hobbies because they need an escape. And I don't know. I think taking advantage of people by pushing stuff that will not fix their problems is really, really, really messed up. And I don't know any way to make people stop, but I know how I can counter that by doing the opposite of, I'm not going to tell you I like something unless I like it. And if you buy something from Display and they come back, or, Turbo Dork, that's the thing. Display, I don't know. Turbo Dork, I can't imagine Greg not being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and sending you a replacement if something was messed up, like on their end, because he was the first person, like, from a business standpoint that, like, I talked to, that it was just like, it was uncanny, where it was just like, we have the same goal, like, we love this, that's all we want to do, and we just want to put out stuff for the people who love this with us. And that was just wonderful. It was wonderful meeting him, and it was wonderful seeing one of my models in their display at Adepticon. And I did not know that they would get any traffic. He was like, man, people were stopping by and looking at that thing all day, and I was just like, really? And that's a prime example. I love Turbo Dork. Turbo Dork is my favorite paint because there is no one else on this planet that makes paint like Turbo Dork, period. And if you know someone, please tell me. But it is the color, metallic color, you can do so much with that. And then you take that a step further by having, like, transitions, like stuff where it's just like, yeah, we formulated this to where when you look at it from a certain angle, if you use a different undercoat, it drastically changes how it performs. And there's no one else out there that does that. There's other companies that, like, are probably starting. But yeah, it's just such a unique thing. And I love being able to take their products, which are really kind of targeted and, like, very cyberpunk, very anime almost style, because of the bright colors. And it's just like, there's so many people out there that want to tell you that grim dark, the models have to be dark, they have to be black, they have to be gray metal. And it's just like, that's not true. I can show you how you can make something purple and gold look fucked, like just fucked up. And it's because it's just it's all about layering, it's all about the achieved goal. And it's also, I think, the grim dark aesthetic, it's not on the models, it's in here. Like, it's when you're in the vibe and you're making something that really fits grim dark or the 28 scene, it's not so much it is an aesthetic and there is a style to it. But it's how you can tell when someone loves and lives in those worlds and when they are just emulating a style that they've seen online. Um, and I can say that it's the same way anytime you see anything that Isaac makes, Weirding Way. Shout out Isaac, love it, he's great. Uh, Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. He's the closest person I've met in this hobby whose brain like works like mine, where it's just like I saw his desk and I was like, kindred spirit. It's just constantly just hacking everything apart into millions of little pieces and then thinking about where the pieces go. Unfortunately, I got a little bit more of the Johnny side for me, which is just throw it together and make it work. And it's just, yeah, I'd like to say that my style of building things is really kind of like a merging of Johnny's and Isaac's. I think that's a good descriptor. But there's also a lot of wire in there because I am obsessed with making things as realistic as they are in my head. That's a long tangent. That's a rant about 28 and Grimdark and art. It's really about art. And every one of those people that I mentioned is an artist. Like, you can see them in their work if you know them. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I know their ins and outs. I'm really good at reading people because I've had to do it as a defensive mechanism my entire life, to make sure I go into safe environments. Like, so you're the 28 Voltron. Hell yeah. Dude, I talked about Voltron yesterday. I was like, man, fucking shooting off my hands like fucking Voltron. That'd be dope as hell. I don't remember what the context was, but I was thinking about it. We talked about Voltron on stream the other day. I don't know. I still haven't looked up. I don't know if Voltron came first or Gundam. I want to say probably Gundam, but I don't want to misspeak. But yeah, no, that's it. It's I want to make sure that I put out there that the Grimdark Hallway, wherever it may be, at an event, or the 28 community, if you can find people that look like, I think they're supposed to be at a metal show or a hardcore show that just like somehow got canceled and they just came here instead. I want you to be like, hey, I bet those people are good people. I want to try and make people feel safer about approaching people who look kind of scary. Because they are some of the nicest people I've ever met. And yeah, I just want to put more positivity in the world, and my art sure as hell doesn't make you feel that when you look at it. But that's just kind of how I get it out. And I wish, I was going to say I wish that I didn't have only that outlet, but it's just like, it's good and it's bad. I can't turn it off, that's for sure. So I think just accepting that and trying to work with it and do good with it is what I'm really trying to do. And that's not a sales pitch. That's just me kind of also talking to myself and be like, hey, it is worth, you are making something that is worth people's time because I value their time. That's it. I think me valuing your time more than anything. I would like to think that I value your time more than you do, because I truly mean that. Like, you only have so much, and that fear has absolutely held me to things that I would not do if I could stop and think about it. But it's just time, the fear of losing time, the fear of at any moment, it's over. It's really heavy, and it's something that I just had to cope and deal with very, very early in life. And I think a lot of my closest friends, that's typically one of the things that they've always said is hey, thanks for helping me through that thing. And it's just oh, that's no problem. I've been through it a lot since early childhood. So it's just yeah. And I got to say that having a very nihilistically pitch black sense of humor is not the healthiest way to do it. It's a coping mechanism, but it definitely leads to self-isolation. in a not healthy way or productive way. You can't just laugh everything off because it's all a big joke. Because when you're gone, the joke's still going on. Like that's it. Like, I don't know. I just want to make the world better in any way that I can. And I think that this is the space that I have the most control in of what my output into the world is. Yeah, that's my pitch. That's my sales pitch. It's not my sales pitch. It's just who I am, what I'm doing. And just a reaffirmation that it's just like, yeah, if I tell you, hey, I like this thing, I'm not trying to get your money. Can't stress that enough. I wouldn't tell you I liked something if I didn't. And you will know, because I don't have a poker face. That's another really cool thing about not having the mask. Is you'll know what I think about something, because I can't really lie with my face because my emotions are so just, yep, they just come up. So it's just one of the wonderful parts of who I am. Not intentional, just happens. But yeah, long story short, thank you guys for your time as always. And I really like this little dice. It has made it to where I did not have to worry about my little parts flying everywhere, because this thing really holds them in place. And then the little spots on top of there, that is so you can put these little pegs in. It comes with little rubber tubing, not rubber, is that rubber? No, maybe. It's a lot squishier than like the plastic tubing that you use for like water pumps in aquariums and terrariums. But that's kind of, that's neither here nor there. Essentially, you put that around there so it doesn't scuff whatever you're holding, and also to help cushion and hold in place with tension, as opposed to just the metal. The metal wouldn't hold it. But yeah, I really like this guy. Very small, very lightweight, and very clearly made to a quality that, like, I'm like, yep, you drop that, it's fine. Like, not only is it fine, but probably is going to mess up whatever you drop it on. So yeah, that's if they can continue making things that I love, I will continue riding with them. But I've not seen a single thing that I've gotten from them that doesn't make me assume that whoever designs their stuff is legitimately an engineer and does legitimately work in our hobby. Like, they know what tools we want, they know what tools we need. Or, and this is why I made the comparison to Ibanez, if you like guitars, Ibanez is, I have only one, no, I have two. My bass is an Ibanez. But they are honestly my favorite guitar brand, because they're my favorite like musical instrument brand, because they listen to musicians. That yeah, it's the same thing. And my former job, like, there's one company that's just like, they would always like, you can't buy me. I appreciate if you buy me lunch. Jersey Mike's is great. I love it. But the fact that you will listen to what I have to say about the thing that I know what I'm talking about, and then go and you will like tell your engineers and your design teams, and you will work on fixing problems that we actually have, not that you think we could have. I respect that, like, because there's like literally one company that did that. And the same thing with guitars. Like, Ibanez is the only one that like listens to the people who use what they have, as opposed to, oh, hey, here's a problem that you don't even really have, but we've got a solution for it. And I'm mainly talking about Gibson, which is not a dunk. If anything, I'm punching down, because they've definitely seen that. They're barely a company anymore at this point. They had to sell damn near everything because they put all of their money into their name, and that's it, which is just insane. Fuck around and find out, I guess, but yeah, so I'm really excited about Grief. I'm trying to think of where to go here, but I kind of got off on a tangent and just started yapping. Also, this is a communicant from Trench Crusade. He's on my desk because I am building a communicant for Trench Crusade for a commission. My communicant, though, is for the Trench Pilgrims. And I will go over that just a little bit to show what I got done, because I am really excited about it. So pretty much what is going on here is I took a head and then I sculpted the skull Or pretty much I took a skull. I'm trying to make sure that's not blurry. There we go. Pretty much I took a skull. It was one of the skulls from I really like for humans, for human heads, space marines, pretty much anything. I like to take just a normal sized skull, human skull from, a lot of mine are the Games Workshop, the skull box. I still am going through those. I have so many. But I like to take those and I like to use those as the base when I'm doing a head and I want it to be unique. I like to sculpt the whole head, other than the skull. So I put the eyes, little micro beads in there for the eyes, and then I like to sculpt the face. It's just very fun. I've always found that very fun. And it honestly probably comes from forcing myself to try and replicate Natalie Dormer's head at 28mm scale for like months. Because I was really trying to nail down Kelly's Inquisitor for our Dark Heresy games, and then bring it into Inquisitor. So doing that a long time, it's just like, yeah, I just kind of got to where I really like sculpting heads. So I do pretty much the same thing with bigger things. But this is a skull from the Chaos vehicle sprue, upgrade sprue. It's normally got chains or some other thing on there. I cut all that off and I just use the skull. It's bigger. It's almost the size of a Space Marine helmet. So it doesn't work for like Space Marine heads, but anything that's like bigger than a Space Marine, typically some kind of chaotic monster, I like to use those for. So this, communicants are supposed to be about 10 feet tall, I believe. So it needed to be really big. So I started with that and I cut half the skull and I split it a little bit. I pulled it apart to make sure that it clearly looked like the bones themselves had changed drastically. And then I just kind of sculpted around that to fix, or to further that. And then I made this little cross. This cross is going to go on those pins. The way that they are set, there we go. The way those pins are set, I have made them very flat. So this will be able to sit right on there. And once I get the other pin, which will be still on the cross and hanging in the mouth, it will be very clear. Oh, that's where it went. That's what it looked like before it flew off. Let me grab this. Come here. So yeah, the way that this will look once it's done, you can kind of see it right here. But communicants nail these crosses to their face because they see better blinded, and pretty much let the Holy Spirit or whatever is in Trench Crusade flow through them and kind of guide their actions. I wanted to pretty much show one that did not have anything over its face, so you could see what pumping Metachrist DNA into your body would do. And I very much, again, another great influence from the beta. I assume that the moment that you get regeneration, you have problems with cellular growth. I assume that your body is constantly trying to repair itself, whether you want it to or not, which means it's probably going to have monstrous growths and outbursts. And then, I guess I didn't really show that. Those are mice teeth. That took a while, but it was definitely worth it. I really like how they look. They are very gnarly, and they will look a lot like real teeth once they are painted, because they are real teeth. The shape, the texture, it does not get any more realistic than that at that scale than by using something that is that scale. And I've been holding on to bones and teeth from an owl pellet for years, waiting to make something really awful that I would be able to show the bones. I ate the bones. But yeah, I'm really happy so far. But yeah, the nail that is in the bottom part pretty much goes in right here. So to pretty much show that it has like opened its mouth, I had the nail split up through the lip. So yeah, pretty grisly. but I'm having a great time. And then the body itself is made from a mummy for the necrotic undead. Um, that is going to be the basis for the body. I also really wanted to. This is supposed to be a stigmatic nun that has consumed the flesh of a Metachrist. I really wanted to. One, those are absolutely on the list because it's just like, I think everybody knows at this point. I love taking things that are supposed to be I was gonna say fan fiction. That's not it. Fan service, and turning it into something that's not fan service at all, unless you really like really grisly stuff. And the stigmatic nuns are like the perfect example because it's just like, yep, out the gate, it's just like naked woman. Start there. You're pretty much gonna have a hard time like getting out of that valley where people are like, oh yeah, it's a naked woman, unless you get real not pleasing with it. And I love that. I love doing that. The nurses from Silent Hill, almost all the monsters from Silent Hill, that the playing in the mental space of horror. There's a lot of room there, and I think zealots that run around naked are very, very, very horrifying. That is a very scary concept, which is why that's a thing that's like been in our history. Just like berserkers and shit like that. You don't want to fight a crazy naked man that's just like real fucked up on drugs and ale, or I guess shit. What are they? Like mead and other crazy things, like a concoction of what other people would consider like witch doctor shit, to like help them see the spirits as they just run amok through your village. That's horrifying. You're not gonna be like, that's pretty sexy. So yeah, that's really kind of what I want to make sure I convey with them. But then I thought, well, I could have the best of both worlds if I had a communicant that was clearly a stigmatic, nun who consumed the flesh of a Metachrist, because then it's just like, cool, I get to make a half-clothed, awful monstrosity. Wonderful. So, and I don't think I've seen a female communicant yet, so I wanted to do that. I'm gonna step over here real quick, and I'm gonna see. Okay, good. Greeblin and Grebo are doing good, and then we're gonna get on to Grief. I've been looking at the legs, and I feel like I should not have made them shorter, and I feel like those feet might be a little too small the more I look at it. So I'm not trying to think about it right now. I'm trying to think of, hey, what can I get done today on Grief? Yeah, and I'm like, do I wanna start doing skin stuff? Skin stuff would be fun. I don't know. Maybe. I think maybe veins. We'll do veins. That sounds fun. I also made the comment that I think I might do the skin with paper, because then you can see through it. But that would mean that I would need to add musculature all the way down the arms as well. And I don't know if I want to do that, because the muscle that I've added is going to be very just exposed. So I think we're going to do some veins. That sounds fun. Veins. 28 Voltron. These look like they could be veins. Oh, hello, my grief. Oh, hello, my grief. Oh, won't you come with me? Snip, snip, snip. Sorry, that was just a whole lot of yapping and not very much griefing. Or a lot of griefing, yapping, but not physically. But yeah. That would be one that I would not put in the video of, hey, this is how we worked on grief. But I feel like all that was, I needed to say that. I needed to yap a little bit. Intention. That's it. I think intention is just very important. Um, and that's why I was saying that I absolutely love your games and I love Turbo Dork, is their intentions. It's time for the Possum Poses a Heavy Question Corner. How do we bring political storylines into gaming without both, one, allowing for bad actors into our spaces, and two, not creating uncomfortable spaces? That's a rough one. And I have dabbled in that, and I've not spaces for individuals who may be affected by politics and role. Yeah, no, as someone that just for a very long time, it's just like I tried to not look at it because it's just all I can see is just like, how do you not understand where this leads? How do you not know? Again, loving history, I just, things like that, they really get me. And I have a hard time just not getting angry. And I don't like to be angry because, man, when I get angry, it's very hard to get out of it. And it's very hot, very quick. Which I had a moment the other day where I went to the eye doctor and they made a statement that I wanted to correct, and I could not do it calmly because it was extremely offensive. And I know they had no offense intended, but it's just the way that we say things matters. And especially coming from the world that I was in, where you cannot use a nomenclature or a brief word that describes a concept vaguely as the word to describe a specific thing. There is a very key difference in being accurate and being precise. Accurate means you hit the target. Precise means you hit the target where you wanted to. That's the difference. And I try to be very precise in everything that I do. And that often means that I really think about what I say. Sometimes I don't. And sometimes, that leads to me saying things I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what I meant to say. But I often am afraid that I will be misunderstood. But how to deal with things that are really heavy and that might affect people on a real world notice. Just to clarify, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of trimming up these hairs just so they don't make any impact on where I'm wanting to put the veins. And now I'm going to look at here real quick to make sure this is even going to be visible. No, it sure as hell wouldn't be. So, other than using lichen was going to be, that might be the next one. So I think that's something, and this is a common thing. Okay, specifically looking at media like Gits, which talks about refugee issues, and Tactical, which talks about ethnic conflicts. Yeah, and Gundam, I can't stress enough, the entire storyline of Gundam is about child soldiers and the burdens placed on them. And it's not just child soldiers, but it's just children. It is about putting children in situations that they have no business being in, and then expecting them, the same thing with Evangelion, expecting them to save the world, which absolutely has to be symbolic and metaphorical on their part. If it's not, then I'm finding, a story there that they're not meaning, but there's enough of it that I'm pretty certain that that's intentional. But as far as dealing with things like that, your gaming group really, the things that might bother people in your gaming group are not going to be a copy paste across the board for everybody. So it's definitely on a per gaming group basis. A very key instance. And it's really hard because 40K as a story is about essentially the entire human species realizing that they are fucked and coming to terms with it and acknowledging that, and that's why Memento Mori is everywhere. But that also means that they have had to be pushed down into where it's like literally they eat each other. When they die, their bodies go to the factory to get turned into food in the hive cities, and it goes back into the city or it goes back out across the the galaxy, and that's the basic food that people eat. Like that's how desensitized humanity is at that point. So while I absolutely want to create a space for a lot of people in that environment, there's also the part of me that's like, from that storyline, there is no individuality. You are a number at a level that is even past where you already are now. And I say that from like a corporate standpoint. Like, I don't think of people as numbers. But the people that want to make that kind of a future, they do. And I really, it's my firm belief that that is where this leads. Thinking of people like a number leads to just a monstrous future, and it's really horrifying. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to deal with those things, and I think the best way is to, I think, transparency. Be like, hey, I want to talk about this in our games because it's something that I really think is worth talking about and worth thinking about. And also being open to people being like, that's too heavy for me. And unless that's like really like what you're wanting is like, I just want to tell this story, maybe only tell that story for the people that really want to be there for it, and people that don't want to be a part of that story because they can't handle it. That is absolutely, I get that. I've been there. I've been there. I've been in a gaming group where they wanted to do some stuff, and I was just like, I don't think I can handle that. I'll meet up with you guys next week or whenever. That's just too much for me. But as far as, and I'm not saying now, I'm not saying about anything in particular. I'm just saying I've been there. I've had situations where it was just like, yeah, they're still my gaming crew. We're still all good friends, but it's just like, dude, I can't handle that right now. I got too much mental shit going on. I appreciate you trying to draw attention to it though. And I think that's it. As long as you explain, I think transparency and communication are the single most important part. It's asking people if they're asking strangers if they are ticklish. That is role-playing games to their best. If you if you want to have the best kind of role-playing game experience, you got to start going out and asking strangers if they're ticklish, because that is a question no one wants to hear. No one wants to ask that. It's a horrifying question. But that is the level of like openness that you need to have with the people that you create a story with, because it has to be a safe place. It has to be a place that everyone feels like they can be authentic and who they are and what they want to do, and feel comfortable. And you will know that they do because your games will be better if they are. Like, if everyone has the same goal walking into it, then there is no loser. Like, no matter how the dice roll, because no one has any control over that unless you're like playing with rigged dice, which is one of the, it's just something that I don't even understand. I can't imagine. It's actually, I can understand it. Sorry, this is a tangent. But it's the same thing as like, I understand speed runs, but when I see someone speed run a work of art, I can't help but be a little bummed out about it, because it's just like, yeah, you got through it really fast, but you didn't play the game. And that's really, I mean, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Huh. Anywho, that was a bit of a tangent. As far as answering, how do we bring political storylines into the game without allowing bad actors in our space and not creating uncomfortable? I think upfront, being upfront, be like, hey, I kind of want to make a game, or we do this thing because it addresses issues that are very prevalent in the world, and I want to make that a thing to add realism to the game. And that, I think that needs to be also the intent. The intent on your part, and being open and transparent about it with everyone who's going to be involved. That should keep any bad actors out. And it should make, that's all you can do. Like, really, being open and honest about your intentions, and like truthful to yourself and to others about what you're wanting to make or what you're wanting to do and experience, is the only way that you can cover your bases and not make people uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable because it's an uncomfortable subject. Grief is a fucking uncomfortable subject, but it has to be addressed. So it's that. And I really appreciate that is a very heavy question. I like the pause and poses a heavy question corner. Um, but yeah, it talks about refugee issues and tactics. So it talks about ethnic conflicts. Yeah. No, and I mean, shit, Gundam, the same thing. Gundam, not just child soldiers, but ethnic cleansing. They talk about Hitler the first um, Gundam, like Mobile Suit Gundam. That's one of the zombies. I think it's the dad. Says something to his son. He was just like, I don't know if you've ever heard of a man called Adolf Hitler, but he pretty much was just like, yeah, he'd be proud of the work you're doing because you're a piece of shit. Like, it's like one of the last things that you would really ever want as a human being to be compared to. And they handle it in a way that does not seem like they just referenced him. It's a very specific, like, yep, that's, no one wants to talk about that, but it's, we have to learn from our past. And that is another reason, like, about Warhammer, that I cannot stress enough. The blind eye to the past and the eye only open to the future. That is the symbol of the Imperium of Man. That is the Aquila. They have lost the ability to look back. They don't even have that. We have that. And I think that the best way to move forward is to be very clear about what the fuck happened in the past so you don't make those same mistakes again. As someone who has a passing interest in the Spanish Civil War and would like to see more games talk about anti-fascist action and conflict, but how do you keep fascists out of those games? And see, that's hard. It's hard because it's the same thing like with any Battlefield game that takes place involving anyone, no matter what time of the world. You're going to get people in there like German Nazis, like, and just like those Germans and Nazis are two very different things. One can be anywhere and is, and the other is people who are from Germany. And you can't change people like that. As far as keeping people out that actually have those beliefs, I think just transparency up front, just like, yeah, we want to play in this space. But it's hard. It's hard to make characters and to any movie that deals with that deals with anything that is very hard to deal with. It's hard, and it has to be something. I think it has to be something that everybody involved has to at least sit down and have a conversation about. And I think maybe just before you let any new people in, you need to make sure that they know where the group stands on that kind of shit. And that's actually, yeah, to pull straight from there. We had a situation like that in our area where it's just like, hey, so how do you add a faction that are the bad guys, trademark, while allowing not terrible people to tell these stories of resistance? Yeah. And see, I guess that's because I've made some of the most monstrous characters you could ever think of. And someone asked on Reddit the other day, how do you make a good villain? And I said, make them human. The more human you make them, the better. And I mean that. And it's not a dunk on humanity. I mean, it kind of is, but it's just truthful. Like, the best villains are villains that you can see where they fucked up and became what they are, because that is, it makes you think. It has to make you think. If it's just black and white, then I think it falls flat and it becomes a just let's go kill Nazis, like that kind of a thing. I think storytelling and character development for those kinds of factions is very key. And I'm not saying that you can't make a king, like, if you're playing Flames of War or whatever, and you're playing an SS division and you're trying, and that's also hard because, fuck, if I was playing Flames of War, I would want to play the Germans because I love German tanks. I love the design, the aesthetic of the physical things that Germany made. Their actions are beyond monstrous. And I say that along the lines of people that were, wholly committed and not. because they're that whole thing is like the people themselves of Germany were victims. They were led down that path. They did not have a choice, and the rest of the world did not have a choice either. So it's to do, what had to be done. Uh, it's hard. It's really hard. I think adding them, the bad guys, other than just being like, hey, I think, yeah, again, I'm going to stick with communication. I think communication is the single most important part of any kind of gaming group, and any kind of storytelling, period. Uh, and the more that you can let people know, hey, this is what we're about, this is what we're doing, we are trying to do this because we want to play in this space, because there are entertaining and interesting things to take from that. I am obsessed with learning about World War One. I gobble any new information like that up because I've already gobbled up everything I can. And it's not that like, man, I just love World War One. It is fascinating to me because of just the sheer insanity of everything, and just how monumentally it impacted the world at every level. So it's definitely it is, of course, hyper ripe for stories to be told, and I mean even more so with like World War II, because there is very clearly a good and bad guy, but making them more than just I just like being a Nazi. You need a little bit more than that, unless that's the character that you're wanting to make, and it needs to be very clear that it's just like, yeah, they're ignorant shits. Like they don't know how dumb the plan is, and that the plan ends with everyone starving to death, because they don't have the people that can do the things that they need to know how to do, and they don't. Um, which there's a fun fact. The whole reason that there was the Berlin Wall pretty much comes down to we had to fix a problem that was so fucked up that all these countries had to get together. And then when they fixed the problem, spoiler alert, that didn't fix the problem. They just created a massive power vacuum. And it took over a decade to even just find people that could do the jobs that were currently held or previously held by Nazis, which is how a lot of them escaped. Is because it's like, yeah, this guy's the worst human on the planet. Unfortunately, he's the only human on the planet that knows how to do this thing that this country needs to function, which means that other countries that rely on this country for things need him too, unfortunately. So we have to find someone that can fill that role that isn't a piece of shit. And I'm not trying to just rant about history. I'm just, that is a very good question, and it's very hard. But I think just open communication, and doing your best to create a character that is not entirely one-sided. So there is more to them. And I think that stands really, though, for any, whether they're bad guys or good guys, do as much as you can to make the characters as real, but to make people not feel uncomfortable, and to play in that space, and to not let people in that clearly have negative intentions. I think just communication. And that's just a really, really, really long way of saying that. But yeah, and we had a very similar situation like that in our home area, where I think Clay actually was the one who broached it to the group. He was like, "Hey, I knew this was coming. Do you think it's irresponsible game design to allow people to play those bad guys?" No, I do not. I do not, and that comes from my opinions about Trench Crusade. I will say that. At one point, I probably would have said that, because you know that those kind of people are going to be there. But here's the thing, they're going to be there regardless of. Those kinds of people want to play games like that. So let me rephrase, like that. Their way, the shitty, Nazi way. Or not even just Nazis, but anyone that has I'm trying to bring my bullshit into the hobby to pose my really shitty views, and make other people, put down other people. They do that in every game that they play. No matter who they play, that's who they are. And I'm very firm in that belief. You can take the Nazis out of the game, but you can't take the Nazis out of the player base. Well, you can, but that's a different story. Um, so essentially, I think that issue, for example, I've seen the game company not allow play of fascist crusaders that exist in their game. Characters are enemies, but they are explicitly not allowed to be played by the player. And that is something that you could go that route. Um, and that was something that for like this Wretched Inheritance or Fuck Around Find Out 30 30 25, that was something that I was really thinking about, was how do you make something um, so other and then unite the players against it. And I think that is a very good example. If you have, and that specifically was in relation to AI. So having AI control them is a level of just uh, little bit of artistic interpretation there, or a little artistic flair, to have the players be against something that is what the game is pretty much saying will be the fall of everything. As far as using that in not AI, like baddies, that is an option. If you have it set up to where almost like a solo kind of game for like 1490, they have a whole chart that pretty much it tells what the bad guys will do. That is a way to go about it. I don't think that would be my default, because everyone in pretty much 40k is monstrous. When you really think about it, if you think long enough about it, there are no good guys in 40k. So everyone's playing bad guys, and especially like chaos, especially the kind that I like to make. I like to kind of make the chaos that is in the books, that it's like, yeah, it's the most grisly shit you've ever heard, like straight horror stuff. Um, and my stuff does make people uncomfortable. Like, but that's also my goal. My goal is to try and make the most realistic, awful thing so people can get a real image in their head. And just art. It's also just my expression. But I would hate to not be able to have that opportunity. And I think that is one way that you can absolutely lean. If you lean really hard into it and just like, hey, there's a very clear difference. There's a clear difference between showing the monstrous side of a existing faction very on the nose and like unapologetically, like, yeah, that's how monstrous they are, and it is going to offend people. But I think that's a way you can go. It's kind of the way I go. But with real world shit that is much more not up to interpretation or metaphor, symbolism, that kind of stuff, I don't think that would really work, because it's just like, don't fucking make a bunch of really offensive models that deal with real world shit that you don't have to like understand that it's art. That it just makes it way more open to misinterpretation of where your intention is coming from. I think all of the stuff that I make that is so very clearly blasphemous and offensive, I don't think that you can take a look at it and not understand part of it or where my intent was coming from, because they're so, I don't want to say ambiguous, but it's a lot of concepts crammed into one. And I know that that's not a good, like, oh, do it like I do, because that's not the same thing. I don't make anything for, World War II, like Nazi themed, or anything like, with the Spanish Civil War, which I can't stress enough. Pan's Labyrinth, there's a very, 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 very good villain in that movie. Like, that movie, first time I watched it, like, that movie's fucked. And it's about the Spanish Civil War, if I'm not mistaken. But the main villain is truly a monster. And I don't think anyone can watch that movie and think otherwise. But as far as how to portray that, and that's it. I think, yeah, no, I'm almost certain that is where it's from. If it's not, I'm mistaken. But it's about a civil war, and it's very pertinent to where Del Toro. Like Del Toro wanted to make that to draw attention to that because it is something that should be addressed. And storytelling, whether through tabletop gaming or other things, is just it's a good place to talk about the things that we need to talk about as a species because yeah, it's just we need to fix the world in some way, and drawing attention to it to people that don't understand why things are wrong is good. It's just hard. It's hard. I don't know. I think one, the discussion. Two, everyone that you talk with in your group, make sure you all are on the same page and that nobody is trying to come in and put their views forth that put down people. Um, and it's hard. It's going to be hard. Like it's just, it's going to be hard. Same thing with, actually, hey, fuck. I think the very, very, very front page, I got to figure out which game that is. Someone already did this work for me. What book is that? It is it Between the Skies? Hmm. I don't remember if it's Between the Skies. One of these books does address that. It addresses, and I will look up and I will find it and I will share whichever one it is. There's too many books and I have too many random little games that talk about fucked up shit. And they had a very, very, very good way of putting it. And that's essentially, it's the same thing that Trench Crusade did. In Trench Crusade, I have, also the perk of, I literally went up to the two Trench Crusade dudes, and I was like, yeah, I really love World War One. I really love literally everything about this game, but it really put me off all the Nazi shit. And the offense on both of their faces sold me on them as people because I could tell they weren't just like, hey, why would you come and bring this up to me? But it was they were offended to even have to talk about it because of course they don't want anyone to take that and think that that was a welcome, come on in and spread your bullshit, because it doesn't take more than and that was part of why I was just so upset, is I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. And then quickly not looking at it, but it was the whole reason I was like, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea because it absolutely, Trench Crusade opens the door for a lot of people trying to push a lot of their beliefs onto other people. And that's not what the game is about. If anything, it's the game is a mirror. It's like, hey, maybe we should think about like where we're going, and how far you can go down a path until you look as bad or worse than the other side, which is literally hell itself. And that's why the heaven side of Trench Crusade is my favorite. There are so many things that are just in my wheelhouse of, I want to make that because it shows, it pulls up the mirror, which is pretty much what I try to do. So yeah, sorry, I don't know what book that's in, but pretty much I think just having a disclaimer up front, telling your group. So, for example, it's in company. Okay, no. This was my impression of the creator as well. Yeah. So yeah, I love Mike's art. I have followed it for at least 2 decades at this point. His art has made such an impact on me and how I see shit. Like Trench Crusade is it is a game that I can't stress enough. I am so used to people, and that's why I'm so fucking aggressive and angry when I see someone doing anything that I think is even remotely coming from a predatorial standpoint in my community. I'm fucking ready to fight someone. Like, I'm blood raged, and it will take me a while to calm down, because that is just, I will not have it. I will not have people doing predatory practices on my fucking community and pretending like they've been here and that they know what we want and trying to take advantage of them. I've been taken advantage of, and I've seen people be taken advantage of enough, and it's not going to happen in my house. So that's my stance on it. And I think really just the upfront, that was my impression of the creators as well. They seem like good dudes. Yeah, again, you can tell me all the acts that you do to be a good person, but it's truly the level of disgust that both of them, when I brought out the whole Nazi thing, like you couldn't hide it. And that's why I say it's just like, yeah, you'll know if I don't like something, because I cannot tell you and not show it on my face, because I have such intense emotions and reactions that I don't have control over, that you will know what I think about it. And that is my as blunt opinion as I can put out on stuff, and I can't hide it with my face. But seeing that on their face when I mentioned it, there's not a single doubt in my mind that both of them were very, very, very angry. And he was like, Tomas was pretty much just like, yeah, no. As soon as that happened, we went in, we nuked the whole thing, we started over. We pretty much, they went through and they were like, yep, this person's not a crazy fuck. Like, he pretty much instantly went into all the things that they did to fix the issue. And he did it, he told me this while being very clearly irritated that I had brought it up. And I cannot respect that enough. I cannot stress. I respect Tomas and I respect Mike and anyone else that they have got on their team right now, because if you are going to put your heart and soul into something, and this is what Alexander said to me. So I reached out to Alexander to go further into that. I reached out to Alexander because I had found out through Tomas he was like, I was like, yeah, sorry to drop that on you. I really mainly wanted to come talk to you because we have a lot of friends in common and I'm a huge fan of your work. And we started talking about that, and he was just like, oh, Alexander is coming to work for us. And I was like, I did not. Or no, I think I just heard it that morning from the wires. But Alexander and I were messaging, and I was just like, yeah, hopefully if you get a chance, tell Mike and Tomas that I was not trying to be a dick, or I was not trying to rile them up or be offensive. I want to make sure that the people that I support and I enjoy their games have the same values that I do and respect people the way that I do, because I don't want to be associated with a game that does not at all. I've peeked behind the mirror and I've seen how messed up things are, and I want to do everything I can to stop it. And I know that the gaming table it should be a safe place that everyone feels welcome to sit down. And I can't stress this enough, it's hard to unlearn things. There's still a very large demographic that it's hard for me to out the gate based on appearances, and that's fucked up, but it's real. Like, it's hard for me to be like, I don't think this guy's gonna bully me, because my entire fucking life that's been the case. So, and that is something I have worked very hard on to try and put my guard down. And that's really what you have to do. You have to be open, honest, transparent about your intentions. And I think that saves everybody the time, and hopefully saves you a much more heated conversation. The conversation that was pretty intense. It was pretty intense that I had with Tomas. He was very passionate because it was essentially like coming up to me and being like, hey, do you like Nazi shit? And it's just like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of my face. Of course I don't. But when your work impacts so many people, I'm gonna bully you. Possum, you do not. So just to specify clearly, the demographic that really it's hard for me is if you look like, I don't want to say a dad, but if you are someone that essentially is a generation or two above me, depending on, it's hard for me initially to let my guard down, because I've just been constantly reminded that I should never have. But that is not a way to live. And I cannot stress that enough. I'm not justifying that. I've done everything that I can to be better about that. But it all comes from self-preservation. I'm absolutely one of those kinds of people that it's just like, yeah, it's hard to talk about things. Because there's a lot of stuff that it's just like, that's messed up. And if it's not talked about, then it's just open for interpretation and people coming in and doing what they want with it. But if you say straight up from the beginning, this is what this game is about, it's going to deal with some topics that are, okay, where is it? It kind of came to me. It is in, what book is it in? Mothership? Let me grab Mothership. I think it's Mothership. Mothership, or I think it's Mothership. Or it might be Lucas Regic. Witchburner. Maybe it's Witchburner. Let's see. Nope. Okay. Well. Fuck. Man, I really thought it was that. It's not Merkborg. Not the Feed on Fears. Night East. Nope. Well, okay. This one has it. I know this one's got one. The Jester King. Jester King's Dance absolutely does. Let me see if Mothership does. But they recommend a card. And I like that. I do like the establishment of a card. Essentially, it's like a stop button. And anytime somebody feels uncomfortable, it's like a, hey, I'm touching the card. I don't feel comfortable here. And you stop playing. And either A, hey, if someone needs space, like to think, talk about, then you give them space or whatever. But let me see, where is the Warden's Operation Manual? It might be in here. But there is one that already has a pretty good summary. It's not this. I really wish I could think of it off the top of my head. I know the Jester King's got some shit, though. I know Cyborg has a bit about how you should never play on the side of the cops and corporals. Yeah, which that is absolutely. Cyberpunk is one of my absolute favorite genres, and these, what the hell's that? It's just a piece of string. Anyway, Cyberpunk, absolutely. I think that is just a key part of the genre. If you're labeling something cyberpunk, and the only thing is that it has like advanced technology, that's not cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is specifically, we have hit a point that technology is working against us. We are slaves to it, and we are enforced to be slaves by the corporations and by the totalitarian fascist, police force that invokes their will because they are owned by the corporations. Let's see. So, demon descriptions adapted from mythology.net and wikipedia.com. Disclaimer, the descriptions are not meant to be fully accurate to their mythological roots. They are meant to spark your own creativity. Unlike our other games, this game is not intended for young players. It is not family friendly. The author of this game felt uncomfortable several times while writing this game. You will likely feel uncomfortable while playing it. Please take care of yourself. While not explicit, the following topics can easily arise during play. Content warnings: shame, humiliation, death, torture, isolation, murder, violence, abuse, memory loss, negligence, suicide, sex, religion, demons, subservience, control, gaslighting, brutality, betrayal, exploitation, trafficking, drowning, starvation, dehydration. Absolutely no Nazis, fascists, racists, or bigots allowed. So that's just the very first page when you open up this little book. That is, how many pages is this? There are not numbers. There's not enough numbers to give them pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 pages, including the front and back cover in this book, and they spent one page at the very beginning pretty much telling you what you're getting into, and I respect that a lot. because it is important. It is important, I think, to state your intentions up front and to put them as clear as possible so no one feels like you have stolen their time, um, or led them to feel like they were invited to do some Nazi shit or fascist shit or racist shit or bigot shit. But also letting everyone else know that it is a place that we're going to talk about that kind of stuff, because the world has those kinds of problems. And more the more you make the world that you're playing in feel real, which if you have living things that have thoughts, you're gonna have racism in your games, like whether it's orcs, elves, whoever, because that's just a part of being aware that other people that are not like you are out there, and you're going to have people that think that they get to have an opinion about that because they do not know enough about those people, um, which is another one of the reasons why I really, 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 really love the part in the Two Towers is when Galadriel gives Gimli 3 hairs, and it's something that if you don't understand the lore, you would not understand how wholesome and how feel good that is. Gimli, they are allowed to ask for one thing, and Gimli asks for a hair, and she gives him 3. And this whole thing comes down to, with dwarves and elves being super old, Galadriel's been alive for a very, very, very long time, and there is literally dwarven like mythology and lore about, so and so was like the most proud dwarf or whatever, and he asked Galadriel for 3 hairs of her head, and she said that she wouldn't even give him 1. And that has been like a big thing. Dwarves are very proud people. It's been a huge thing, and to show that it's just like, yeah, she has grown, and also to show that Gimli is not the same. Like, that's just a very lore-based, wholesome thing that absolutely, it's just like, that touched me when I first understood what the whole point of that was. Is it's just like, fuck, the world can change, but you have to be the change that you want to see. That's it. You have to be the change that you want to see. You have to put out what you're wanting to put in. The world is the goose flail. You get out what you put in. I keep saying you get in what you put out every time. But yeah, that's it. The world is a goose flail. You get out what you put in. And then same thing with gaming. The gaming table it should be a safe, welcoming space for everyone. And I truly believe that the first thing first to make everyone okay is to talk about it. The most personal, like, and relatable one that I can do is specifically our group. When we started playing Merkborg, I had to have an uncomfortable conversation with my friend Jeffrey, because I respect him and I value him, and I don't want him to feel for a second that that's not the case. But Merkborg, I mean, the amount of satanic imagery that is in Merkborg is very high. And it is very high because it's supposed to be the game that D&D was touted as. It's a very tongue-in-cheek of, oh, you thought that was satanic, well, how about this? It's so over the top that it's clearly satire. But a lot of people don't get that. And I wanted to make sure that whenever we started to play that game, that he knew it was not us dunking on his beliefs. It's not us doing anything like that. And his response was just, dude, it's just a game. And it's just like, I am very fortunate enough to have a lot of people around me that can separate a game that you play on a board, or that you play at the table rolling dice. I'm really fortunate to have people that they have a good remember in the Merkborg license around this stuff. Okay, maybe it's Merkborg. But yeah, that's exactly. Thank you, Peter. I did not mean to smack my ring on there. That's always really loud when I do. And if I get it wrong, it can definitely hurt. Bam, just right on the knuckles. But yeah, you have to have those conversations. You have to have an upfront conversation with your gaming group to establish a tone and a setting for what is acceptable and what's not acceptable in your gaming group. Um, and hopefully they also take that out into the real world. And I do think, I would like to think that the stories that I've told in my gaming group that have dealt with real messed up shit, stuff that really bothers me about the world, I would like to think that my players walked away from that thinking more about people's actions and stuff like that, because that's absolutely what I try to convey. Um, but you guys know, I'm a yapper. I don't like to have those conversations, but I have accepted that you have to. I have seen enough failed communication in every aspect of my life that I've realized that that is the single most important thing, is being just very communicative and making sure people know what your intent is up front and being dead honest. Like, that's it. Like, be very honest, be very blunt with what you want out of it, so there's no room for misinterpretation. Um, and also make sure that you express the intent that you don't want to make people uncomfortable, or not uncomfortable, but you don't want to upset anyone. Uncomfortable is something that everybody should be, at least at some point in their life. They should feel uncomfortable so they know what that feels like to make other people uncomfortable. You don't want that in your gaming group. But without it, that's how you have people walking around and they can't relate to other human beings, and they somehow see them less than. And that covers, everything from brain makeup, race, gender, equality, everything that makes people different, which is so much, so much. Everyone is very, very different, but we're all really the same. We're just animals that have the ability to put words together that could be really offensive, with our intent behind them, or really uplifting. And I think, yeah, intent and just transparency is just the biggest way to do that in a way that is productive. So I think with Trench Crusade specifically, I think they should absolutely let you play both sides, because they are not saying that one is right or one is wrong. There's very clearly one that's supposed to be the bad guy, but it looks so close to the good guy. So there's a lot of nuance in there. With games that are, even then though, I say that, and it's just like, there's very clearly a bad guy. How do you play Hell and feel good about it? And it really comes down to having that conversation. Yeah, Merkborg. You're like, hey, we're going to play around some stuff that might offend you based on your beliefs. I want you to know that that's not my intent. And with Jeffrey, as far as that, I can't stress enough, the kinds of people that I am friends with that are religious, they love my art because they are just as angry as I am about people, and even more so, actually. I would say that. I would say that as someone that is not, I don't believe in those things. I can't imagine. Actually, I can. It's art. Anytime that I see someone dismiss art or dismiss something that someone has created that so very clearly speaks to me and I resound with and I understand it and I feel it to my core, and someone writes it off, I get very offended, because it's as close to religion for me as I have. Is storytelling, is these games. It's putting who I am out there and being unashamed for, like, the only time in my life. But every time that I've had conversations with people, it's just like the parts of, of their religion, of the people who believe the same things they do, quote unquote, that make me angry and I want to depict in my models, they are way more angry about, because it's literally blasphemous. They are literally taking their beliefs and they're twisting them for personal gain. And they love what I make because they say, yes, no, this is good. I wish more people understood the problem. And I think that can show them the problem, or it hopefully could. And that's always I very much am appreciative of my friends who are religious and can meet me, hear what I believe, think about all the things that I say, and say, you're not wrong. I believe something different, but we think the same things. Like, we want everyone to be equal. We want the world to be better. We want to do good. We want to make a positive change. Um, and they're not really exciting conversations to just bust into, which is partially why grief is hollow. That's a little inside joke. It's also multifaceted. Grief is hollow because it's just hollowed, just like just empty feeling after just essentially gutting itself. But that's also a little bit of an inside joke at myself at Adepticon this year. Pretty much, I guarantee I was probably almost the only person that anyone talked to that went up and was like, "Hey, check out this cool trick," and then just spilled their guts and told them the most traumatizing kind of stuff that they could ever hear, and then followed it up with, "I really like your work and I like what you're doing, and I think that you and I have the same goals and we want to make the world better, and I think we should know each other." And doing grief magic tricks, grief's opening act of gutting itself on stage it's as much of the, "Hey, here's who I am, and I want you to know my intent." And that is the way it just comes out for me. In that situation, it was mostly, I'm already at like a 12 on my anxiety because there's just more people than I've been around in years. I'm pretty hermit. I don't like loud places. I don't like a lot of people in my space. It makes me very uncomfortable because I feel like I cannot have my guard up, and it forces me to let my guard down and just accept things. And with that said, I mean, that's part of it. Part of it is just that's why I approach things like that, because I so often am afraid of people misunderstanding what I am trying to convey, that I know the only way to make sure they don't is to just be blunt and say, "This is what I'm trying to convey. I don't mean to offend anyone with this. I'm trying to draw attention to things that are difficult subjects to talk about." And it's the same thing with my demons. The very first thing that I did that really was like, hey, I want to put myself out there, was addressing like my own sexuality, self-loathing, all kinds of things that have been eating me alive inside. And it's just like, I don't want to make people uncomfortable, but I want you to understand like why I made these, and why they look like what they do, and what I wanted you to get out of that. And a lot of people related, and a lot of people appreciated that, I think. So yeah, that was a rant. That was a tangent for sure. Bet the coffee's cold. But yeah, thank you for that topic. Hopefully I answered it. I think I just said the same thing for a very long time and then referenced different times where I've had to deal with it. But I think transparency. I think you absolutely should allow people to play the bad guys, because sometimes the bad guys do have cool toys, like the Tiger Tank. That's a cool tank. I like the design. I would like a reason to make one and push it around on a little table and make little tank noises, that kind of stuff, because that's fun. I don't support the ideals of literally anybody that like, well, that's another topic entirely. Again, half the people that designed that fucking tank were victims. So it's not cut and dry. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about grief. Yeah, that's it. Be as open and as communicative as you can be with the people that you let into your life and your inner circle, and your gaming group, because the gaming group is as close, like the hearth, the table that you play your games at is as close to a church for me as it gets. Like are few places that I feel as safe as when I invite other people into a world that I have made in my head, and I want them to be a part of, and I want them to walk away with memories and like being excited about hearing how the rest of the story goes. And if anyone feels like they aren't safe, or they are uncomfortable, or that you have negative intent, then it's not the kind of game that I was wanting to convey, and I need to see what I could have done different to fix that. And I have definitely fucked up over the years. No one's perfect. That's the other thing. Issues are going to arise. You're going to have the talk. It's going to suck. And there are still going to be issues at some point because everyone is different and everyone understands things different and everyone says things slightly different, especially with a language like English as like, the basis for it, because the amount of words that just have multiple meanings and just we don't even have all of the words that we need to convey other things that are in other languages. But yeah, it's that. There's just so much. There's so much to cover outside of playing the game that you need to talk about with your gaming group if you're going to have anything more than a just rolling dice and killing each other game. It's just that. You have to talk about it. You have to make your intentions clear. You have to make sure everyone's on the same page. You have to make sure everyone feels safe to say, I don't feel comfortable at the time. And it needs to be as close to a church situation where it's just like your player's safety and comfort with the story should come first, not the story that you want to tell. You don't force it on people, but put out what it is in the very beginning. Like, if you click on my stream, you're probably going to see in the main screen something fucked up and probably blasphemous, or, at least metal as hell. You know what you're getting into. I'm not working on anything that is very lighthearted. So yeah, you kind of know the moment you get in, like, that's going to be messed up. I think that's just with a book, with things that have to do with topics, you can't, other than just showing a picture, and even then, you have to, with grief, I have to explain, like, if someone comes in and they're like, man, I find that offensive, and she's like, I understand. I mean for it to be somewhat offensive because it has really upset me and fucked up a lot of things in my life. The ideals and shit that has been preached down and, has led to some of my friends not being here. And it's just, there's no way to say something that is that painful without saying it. And if they are able to have empathy, then they should get it, even if they are on the other side. And if they don't, it's a very good litmus test of just like, yep, I don't think you're going to be good for the group. Yeah, but no, thank you. That was great. Sorry, I made you rant through your potty break. It's okay. I feel good. No, I feel really good. And I feel like that conveyed, that was a very, very, very long tangent. We didn't work on grief really at all today, but it is Thursday, so I will be back this evening with actually getting some work done on grief. Well, that's not entirely true. I got to give myself credit where credit's due. I did put the rest of the bills on. Now, here's the question. We definitely don't want those just always flopping around because that's not going to be good. Also, man, I just keep looking at this. I really do think that I need to make his legs longer. His legs need to be longer because this just looks too silly. And his feet being that small compared to his hip bones is throwing me off. So I am going to have to extend those out. Base is not getting any bigger, so he's just going to be dragging them. And I'm fine with that. I think that's fun. But yeah. Whew, boy. That was a tangent. But no, hopefully I answered that in a very satisfactory manner. It's heavy. Gaming, some of the best gaming I've ever had and the best stories I've ever told or been a part of. And when I say told, I mean, like, I put forth the story, but I mean, it was again, it's collective. A good GM can freestyle. They know how to alter the story and the world that they have made to accommodate the players and what they want out of the story, as long as it's within the realm of possibility. Don't ever pander. I really don't like pandering. Don't pander as far as, oh, I know that they like this, so I put that in there. Unless you want it in there, don't put it in your story. It's your story. But respecting them and their time and your time, and that's where that one comes in. Respect your time and the work that you are putting into what you're making, and everyone else's. And I think the only way to do that is just upfront transparency. And I think that's the best damn policy for almost everything, which is why it's just like, yep, I want to make it very clear. If you see me say that I like something, I mean it. Uh, I, yeah, I don't ever want anyone to feel like I'm pandering or I am trying to sell them something, because those things, I've just seen them abused so much in my lifetime that I can see it the moment it starts happening. I pick up on it very quickly, and I can't not be insulted by it, because it essentially feels like someone is saying that they know more about the thing that I know about, and they know enough to like pick out things that are not problems and present them as problems. And that is just, it's just very upsetting, because a lot of people are trusting. That's it. Like, and I don't want them to not be. I don't want people to have to worry about putting their trust in people and realizing, oh man, they didn't have my best interests in mind. And that's really it. That really sums up. I want to be the positive force that I can put out there. I would like to be able to answer hard questions that other people don't want to talk about because they suck. But I have nothing to gain. Like, I just want to be myself and tell other people how to be themselves in a safe, healthy manner, and hopefully like make their lives better. Because I have had a community that has allowed me to do that, and it has drastically changed my life, to the point that it's just like I feel compelled to do this. I feel like I need to do the thing that I know just comes naturally, and I need to be there and present for other people like me. And I mean that whether you make stuff, whether you are, neurodivergent as fuck or not neurodivergent at all. If you're just, you need someone to talk to, I want to be someone who has something that they're working on that they love doing, that will be here to talk to you and give you advice if I have anything I need to give on the subject or the topic, and just put in my 2 cents, because I constantly think. Always thinking about something. So there's always something to just kind of yap about. But no, I really enjoyed that. So hopefully it was good. I feel like I did a video version of what they summed up in one page, but I gave a little bit more detail. And also you get some nuance with inflection and whatnot. It's a good storyteller tool. But yeah, no, the potty break. I will take a potty break in 2 minutes. I'm gonna go till 10, and then I'm gonna end it. I gotta say, I'm still not getting tired of this picture of Gage just looking at me, like just right there. He's just looking straight at the camera when they took this picture. It's just really good. It's very funny. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's that guy. He's just staring right at me while I'm talking to you all. And then, of course, Cadabra Records. No gods, no mods. I love that sticker. They have so many good stickers. I got to get my sticker game up before I go anywhere else. Yeah, and then Turbo Dork, Smash Bash, and Cadabra Records. Cadabra Records is the that really rad record label that does like horror lit readings, and then they also have someone like writing or like playing a score to the reading, like in the background, and then they record the whole thing and then just press it on vinyl. And I love that. I love vinyl. I love vinyl because it is just the purest form of music, and I mean that as in it's literally sound put into a piece of plastic, which is just witchcraft kind of shit. Like, which same thing with telecom. I cannot stress enough, as someone that designed and fully understands the shit of how all this stuff works, the best thing I can say is it is like black space magic. Like, it is like the darkest kind of magic, but also futuristic shit, like how any of it works. And it's crazy to me that it works at all, because someone had to figure that out. And it just, the world is full of different people that think vastly different than us. And to appreciate things that we take for granted, I think we have to acknowledge that and just acknowledge that, yeah, people are different. People, everyone's different. They all do things differently. They're all people, though. Like, they're all people. Yeah, that was a tangent. But Cadabra Records. I love records. I love vinyl. I also, the finiteness about it. There's something, and that's why I love making physical sculpts as opposed to digital sculpts. There is something that I really love, and it bleeds through into my games. It bleeds through in my stories. Something, I can't feel like I can love something unless I know that I can lose it. It makes me appreciate it. It makes me think about it more and value it more. And it makes me value my time and stuff. Printing things is wonderful. I love just printing stuff. It is really cool, and it does help me a lot. But as far as making something, I love knowing that something is made, that it could not exist, because it's just like, man, it's not value. I guess it's value. There's value in something not being replaceable. And there's value in something when you've lost it. That's a grief joke. That's grief, not really a grief joke, it's a grief lesson. But we love things because we can lose them. If you have something that you truly love that you think that you could not lose, share it. Share it with the world. That's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. I was going to say, are you sure you can't lose it? Because, like, there's a lot of things that could happen that could take away things that you love. I can absolutely testify to it. But on that same note, and with a really positive note, I don't think the things that I've lost that are really fucking hard to deal with, I don't think I've really lost them. It's changed. But what I loved and what I gained out of the things that I have lost and the people I've lost are still in me. So it's just, yeah. Now we're getting too heavy. Oh, man. 10:03. All right, I'm going to stop here because I feel like I can't talk about that anymore. I'm like emotionally, I've covered it. I've covered the thing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. I say it every time, and I'm going to keep saying it every time. It is the most valuable commodity that you have. Please use it wisely and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Sit pretty. Always be proud of who you are. Take care. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much, Possum. Thank you, Possum. Thank you, Peter. I feel like Fuon. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. I will be streaming this evening. I'll do evening stream. 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we will not, I won't just talk the whole time. I'll work on grief and talk. So yeah, I will see you guys then. Take care. Thank you all again. Bye, friends.